Alright, I'm going to teach you the correct way to slow down your clips using Premiere Pro. A lot of the tutorials will show you how to use the rate stretch tool to slow down your clips, but that's not the right way to do it. It ends up looking a little bit choppy, and you also can't add certain effects such as warp stabilizer to the top of it. So I'm going to show you quickly my way of making really silky smooth slow motion clips where you can also add warp stabilizer. Check it out. Alright, so let's get started. Let's make this quick. First we're going to open up Premiere Pro and basically just open up whatever project you want to open. I'll choose Tower, I guess. I don't know why that just came up. Anyways, once your project's open, basically you're going to want to have to choose files, video files to put into your project. And the most important thing to know really quickly, not to nerd out real quick, but basically, films and YouTube videos are typically filmed at a standard frame rate of 24 to 30 frames per second. And so when you're filming something in slow motion, you're going to want to at least double that frame rate, meaning shooting in at least 60 frames per second. So when you slow it down, the clips will look really, really smooth because there'll be a lot of detail, a lot of excess images when you're looking at it slowly. But I'd say ideally, you'd at least want to shoot in 120 frames per second. So we're going to go to File, and we're going to import whatever videos we choose. And then once we have these video files, you can see right here that they're all 120 frames per second, or I guess precisely 119.88, but it's the same thing as 120 frames per second. So we'll choose this clip right here, and we'll drag it and drop it to create a sequence. So basically this is the sequence, and if I were to play this video back, you can see it's super shaky, first of all, sorry about that, but also it looks a little bit weird. It's a lot of images. It's 120 images per second. So it looks not like you would see on a TV or a YouTube video. So if we want to fix that, we'll put that in slow motion. So to put this in slow motion, you can either press the R key or you can go to the rate stretch tool right here. Most people, what they'll tell you to do is to just go to the rate stretch tool and pull it out all the way, just kind of guessing until it looks pretty precise, kind of looks like it'd be good. And then you play it back and you see it's still a little bit shaky and doesn't have a good look to it. So you can see how it's kind of wobbly and it's still not a clean 24 frames per second. It looks it has a little bit of that choppiness to it. The most important thing to add is, as you can see in the beginning of this footage, the clip was kind of shaky. And so if I wanted to add an effect such as warp stabilizer, I'd go to this panel over here and then I would drag and drop warp stabilizer. So if we were to do that right now, I'll show you, a message will come up that says warp stabilizer and speed cannot be used on the same clip. So basically, you're out of luck right away. You can't stabilize footage and slow it down using the rate stretch tool, so I don't know why people suggest this tool to you. It's basically pointless for this purpose. It has its purpose, but just don't use it here. So I'm going to show you guys my way to slow footage down properly, and also you guys can use effects on it, such as warp stabilizer, if you have super shaky hands like I do. So basically you can delete that clip and you can go to the same clip that you had in the project and you can right click on it. And once you right click, you go all the way down to modify and then you go to interpret footage. And in that panel, you're going to go to this that says assume the frame rate. So basically you're telling the computer to assume a certain frame rate. So instead of guessing with the rate stretch tool like you were doing, you're actually going to tell the camera and the computer what frame rate you want it to be exactly. So I'm going to type in 24 frames per second because I want this 120 frame per second to play in slow motion. And so now it'll drop down here and I can drag it into this new sequence and it'll say change sequence settings because we're turning a clip that was 120 frames per second into a 24 frames per second sequence. And then when you play it back here, you can see that it's super smooth. It has this really nice look to it. It doesn't have any of the choppiness. It looks like you would see on a slow motion cinematic film. So you can see there's a little bit of shakiness still. It's not because of slow motion. It's because of my fault. It's just I was kind of shaking the camera a little bit on this cold night. And so if I wanted to add something like warp stabilizer, I can drag the warp stabilizer like I wanted to beforehand. And because the computer thinks this clip is 24 frames per second, I can drag and drop that warp stabilizer over it. And so then we just kind of wait until it's done analyzing like it will. And then once it's done warp stabilizing like it is now, you can look back at that footage and you can play it through, and you can see that in the beginning that all that shakiness is really played out. It looks really, really smooth. There's no shake right here. And then also it's really, really clean. It's got that silky look. Like I said, that really clean travel kind of B-roll type slow motion that you see in a lot of those YouTube videos. So basically it has that really nice look. It looks really sharp, has a really crisp slow motion. And this is how you do it. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, please, that'd be a huge help, and comment if you want me to make more videos like this in the future. Thank you very much.